Hey guys, I wanted to make a video about why bronze players aren't moving up in Elo in Overwatch, and for people that are frustrated. I just want to go over about 7 things that people can work on to help them out and help them rank up in Overwatch. First thing I want to talk about is team composition and character synergy. What you want to do for your team comp is pick characters that work well with your teammates. A question you can ask yourselves: do you have a frontline tank? And if you don't, do you have dive characters? For example, you don't want to run a Winston if you have a Mercy and a Lucio staying with a Reinhardt, or if there are no DPS characters that can dive with you like a Tracer or Genji. Some other examples for character synergy are comboing Zarya ult with Tracer, Genji, and Diva, and also Ana with Soldier and Genji. And the second point that I want to talk about is counter picking and understanding counters of your characters. I think this is one of the most important things in Overwatch, and you don't see a lot of it in lower elo. Most players at lower elo play hit scan characters, which are Soldier, McCree, Widow, Tracer, but usually I don't see people playing Diva to counter them, even though you would counter most of the enemy team. Another problem with counter picking is understanding what your character is being countered by, and if you're being countered, you need to switch off your character and find something else. I've been in games where Junkrats are spamming into Zarya and Divas. You're just building up Zarya's charge, and a Zarya that's super high charge is one of the most deadly characters in the game, and she definitely needs to be dealt with. And this brings us on to point number 3, which is not focusing on your targets as a team. People at Bronze Elo, they get excited when they see an enemy and they just start shooting. Instead of killing the healers or squishy targets, they'll focus fire on Reinhardt or a Roadhog. I just talked about how when Zarya is super high charge, she needs to be prioritized. In team fights, you want to make sure you focus her down first if she's really high charge, because she will out damage all your damage people. The next point I want to talk about is having a limited character base. Many people at lower elo, they know how to play 1 to 3 characters at best. This limits your flexibility with your team and your ability to counter the enemy team. A lot of people play off meta heroes as their mains, and they struggle against people that are running meta characters. This would be an example of like Reaper versus Diva. The Reaper's just gonna get blocked by Diva's defense matrix, and you're not gonna be effective in helping your team. The next point I want to make is that people in lower elo do not contest high ground. I think this is very important, controlling the high ground in matches, because you have a huge advantage of being able to fire down the enemies and you're a smaller target to them. I know there are many matches where if I was playing Widowmaker, I could get on high ground and no one was contesting me, and it was just free pickings on the enemy team. You definitely need to coordinate your team to control the high ground. This will give you a major advantage over the other team. You control the engagements with the enemy team too. Sometimes the enemy has to come to you if they want to push forward, or you can drop down the enemy and get an advantage. The next thing I want to talk about is when people blame their DPS or healers for why the team is losing. I see this in almost every game in Bronze and Silver. People think that because no one's dying on the enemy team, or they're dying, it's the healer's fault, when usually it's people have bad positioning. An example would be a Reinhardt going into the enemy team, just charging in. He's essentially fighting 6v1, and if he dies, the enemy team can just snowball and then wipe your team out. Your team's pretty much defenseless. An example of people flaming their DPS players would be if you have a Soldier in your team and the enemy is running a Pharah Mercy combo, which is kind of hard to counter with just a Soldier. The team needs to be able to coordinate together to be able to defeat that. So you can't just flame one person if people are getting picked off by that. And also, if you have a Mercy and she's the only one in your team healing, which happens a lot at lower elo, and she gets picked, the enemy's going to push in. You can't just blame her for that. I see a lot of tanks that don't know how to stay with their healers or protect anyone, and then they get picks and then they start blaming other people. The next point I want to talk about are people that leave and throw games because they think they will lose. I think that half the games I played, I saw this, where people would flame DPS characters, and people saying that they weren't doing their jobs. Healers weren't doing their jobs, so they just stopped. They just went AFK, or they would troll pick and do whatever they wanted because they thought the enemy team was going to win. They would feed ult. This actually happens a lot. There's not much you can do personally about this, but well, if you are one of these people that throw games or leave or AFK or whatever, you just need to understand you need to give yourself some time to play with the team. You've only been together for a few minutes with the team. You can't just throw it right away because you lost a team fight in the first 2 minutes of the game. And this isn't just a lower elo problem, this is all elos. This happens in Masters, GM, you name it, it's there. There's always going to be toxic people. There's no way around it. But it just seems to happen a little bit more at lower elo. The last thing I want to talk about is what I think is the most important part of the game, ult management. A lot of the times I see people that, let's say an Ana boosted a soldier and he ults, well then that should be enough to wipe like half the team. You guys should be at a big advantage. But I'll also see a Reinhardt ult, and then maybe even another person. That's just wasting ults. You're wasting your advantage for a next team fight. This ties in with the team synergy. Being able to combo ults, I think is very important in this game. Like examples I gave were Zarya ult with Tracer, Genji, or Diva, Nana boosted soldier, Genji. There's a bunch of combos, and you gotta learn how to coordinate with your team. You need to communicate with each other, say, hey, I have this, or how close are you to ult. You just constantly be doing that. And it could change the whole game just from one ult, one press a Q. That's all it takes in this game. Well, thanks for watching. If anyone has anything to add to this, I know I didn't get on everything. There's so much. If you want to talk about your examples that you've had in the past with a lower elo, if you're having troubles going up in ranks, talk about it, and I'll make more videos about this stuff. Thanks for watching. Peace.